He smiled, right in Mike Tyson's face, at the weigh-in, in front of the cameras, in front of the world. His name was Mitch Blood Green, and in that moment, he thought he was untouchable. He had no idea what he was about to wake up, because Mike Tyson never forgot a disrespect. Not one, ever. And this one mistake would follow Mitch Green for the rest of his life. To understand what happened, you have to understand who Mitch Green actually was. This wasn't some unranked nobody thrown in as an easy win. Green was ranked above Tyson at the time. A legitimate contender, a former Golden Gloves champion out of the Bronx. A man who had survived 2 separate shootings on the streets of New York before he ever stepped into a professional ring. He carried himself like a man who had already cheated death. Like nothing in boxing could scare him. Trainers who worked with him called him stubborn, proud and fearless to the point of recklessness. That pride was about to collide head-on with the most dangerous heavyweight on the planet. It didn't start in the ring, it started with money. Tyson was guaranteed $250,000 for this fight. Green was promised just $30,000. $30,000 to step into a cage with a man who had knocked out 19 of his previous 19 opponents. When Green found out the numbers, he exploded. He screamed about disrespect. He threatened to walk away completely. He told anyone who would listen that he was being robbed before he even threw a punch. But here's the twist nobody saw coming. Don King didn't care, because Green needed this fight more than the fight needed him. So Green showed up anyway, bitter, insulted, humiliated before the bell even rang. And if he couldn't get paid like a king, he decided he'd at least act like one. At the weigh-in, with reporters watching and cameras rolling, Green stared Tyson down. He smirked. He puffed his chest out. He talked trash like he wasn't standing 6 feet away from a wrecking ball wearing boxing gloves. The room went quiet. Tyson didn't say a single word. He just stared back. And that silence was worse than any insult Green could have thrown, because everyone in that room had seen that look on Tyson before. The trainers behind him, the promoters near the stage, the reporters scribbling in the back row. They all knew exactly what that stare meant. It meant somebody was about to pay a price. May 20th, 1986, Madison Square Garden. The arena is packed. The bell rings. Green comes out talking, still smirking, still playing the role he built at the weigh-in. Tyson comes out silent, and within seconds, that silence turns violent. Tyson digs a thunderous hook into Green's ribs that bends him at the waist. The crowd gasps in unison. Green grabs hold of Tyson, clinches him like a man holding onto a tree in the middle of a hurricane. Because at this point, that's the only survival option left. Tyson keeps coming anyway. Short, brutal punches to the body, then sudden shots to the head. Round 2. Tyson lands a combination so fast that ringside reporters struggle to count the punches in real time. Round 3. Green's mouthpiece flies out of his mouth and skids across the canvas. He barely even notices, because seconds later, something far worse happens. A tooth, loose from the impact, then completely gone. Knocked clean out by a vicious Tyson hook. The HBO commentator can barely keep up with what he's witnessing. By round 5, Green's face is swelling badly under both eyes. His legs, once planted with confidence, now wobble slightly with every Tyson combination. Green is still standing, still trying, still clinging on with everything he has left. But everyone watching ringside knows the truth already. This stopped being a boxing match rounds ago. This had become a public lesson. Round after round, Tyson hunts him down relentlessly. Body, head, body, head. Green refuses to fall. Nobody can deny the man has heart. But heart alone isn't enough against a fighter built like a freight train, with knockout power loaded into both hands. By the final bell, Green is somehow still on his feet. Barely. The judges don't even need to deliberate long. 9-1, 9-1, 8-2. Tyson wins. Easily, completely, and brutally. The cocky smile from the weigh-in is long gone now, replaced by swelling, blood, and silence. Most people watching that night thought the story ended there. They thought the lesson had already been taught. It had not. Because 2 years later, Mitch Green would discover something far more dangerous. Disrespecting Mike Tyson doesn't end the moment the final bell rings. Sometimes it just goes quiet for a while. It was August of 1988. By now, Tyson wasn't just a rising contender anymore. He was the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, the single most feared man on the entire planet. Late one night, Tyson was in Harlem with friends, shopping at a famous clothing store called Dapper Dan's. And out of nowhere, in the early morning hours, Mitch Green appeared on that same street. Still bitter, still angry, still convinced Don King's organization owed him money from years before. Witnesses say words were exchanged first. Tense words, old accusations, old wounds reopening in real time on a Harlem sidewalk. Then the words stopped being enough. According to reports, Green allegedly threw the first punch. That decision was his second mistake. Tyson didn't hesitate. He never did. One single punch, a short, crushing right hand. Green's eye swelled shut almost instantly. Blood poured from a deep cut across his nose that would later require stitches. It happened in seconds, on a public street, with almost no warning to anyone nearby. Tyson hadn't just beaten Green in the ring 2 years earlier. He had just won a rematch that was never even scheduled. But here's the part almost nobody talks about when they tell this story. Tyson broke his own hand throwing that single punch. The most feared heavyweight champion on the planet had injured himself finishing off a man who once dared to smile in his face. The damage was serious enough that it delayed Tyson's next fight entirely. A massive showdown against Frank Bruno, one of the biggest paydays of his career, pushed back because of a street altercation in Harlem, all because of a disagreement that started over $50,000 and one disrespectful smirk. 2 full years earlier, Mitch Green eventually sued Tyson over the incident. A jury actually awarded him $45,000 in damages, but by the time lawyers took their share, Green barely walked away with anything at all. He didn't just lose the fight back in 1986. He didn't just lose the street brawl in 1988. He lost financially too, in the years that followed, while Tyson's legend only grew larger with every retelling. Years later, Tyson would retell this story again and again, in different ways, to different audiences, on podcasts, laughing about it like an old battle scar. In his memoir, with more reflection and detail, even on a Broadway stage of all places, performing his own life story in front of strangers who had once only seen him as a monster in the ring. Sometimes he told it with regret in his voice, sometimes with dark, almost disbelieving humor, but always with the same underlying intensity. Because Mike Tyson understood something that most fighters never fully grasp. Disrespect him, and you do so at your own risk. It doesn't matter if it happens in the ring under bright lights, at a press conference surrounded by cameras, or on a quiet sidewalk in Harlem at 1 in the morning. Mike Tyson remembers everything. Every smirk, every comment, every moment someone thought they could get away with disrespecting him. And somewhere out there, decades later, Mitch Green still carries the physical and financial scars of that single smile. A smile that cost him a fight he never had a real chance of winning. A smile that led to a street brawl he never saw coming, years after most people thought the story was already over. Because in the world of Mike Tyson, disrespect was never just disrespect. It was a debt that always, eventually, came due. And on that night in Harlem, in 1988, Mitch Green finally paid it, in full.